Okay, welcome back. We are in week 11. This is lesson 2. We're going to look at some long-term healing and what that looks like as far as adaptation and regulation. So healing from autoimmune disease is not a straight line. It moves in spirals and up and down and all over the place. And some days we leap forward and other days we slow down or revisit old symptoms. And that does not mean that we're failing or doing anything wrong. It means the body is healing in its own rhythm. So today we're going to reframe healing as cyclical and adaptable and layered, because it is. So autoimmune healing often mirrors trauma healing. It comes in layers. One layer may focus on inflammation, another on nervous system stability. But when we work with the body gently over time, we build safety and internal trust. And each cycle brings new understanding, not just about our symptoms, but about ourselves and our lives. Your nervous system plays a major role in how your symptoms show up. Chronic stress can push you into sympathetic overdrive, which is where you see a lot of inflammation and fatigue and pain. Whereas parasympathetic states, where you're resting, digesting, restoring, that's where healing happens. So our goal is to shift gently between these states with more flexibility and awareness. So you don't need to be calm all the time. It would be weird if you were. What matters is flexibility, your ability to return to safety after you feel triggered or dysregulated. Breath work, vagus nerve stimulation, trauma-informed movement, even gentle pacing all help train your system to recover faster. And these practices build long-term resilience, not just symptom relief, right? And that's the big difference in what we're doing and just taking some medication, right? We are not masking symptoms. We're working with the body to reset and realign and teach our bodies how to operate and deal with stress differently. Healing isn't only about being symptom-free. It is noticing that you bounce back faster from stress. It's setting a boundary without feeling shame or spiraling. It's having a flare and knowing what to do, knowing how to attune to your body. Milestones include less reactivity and clearer communication and a deeper connection to your body. And these are major victories. So we talked about micro routines and how important they are. These are the small 2 to 5 minute practices that you are using every day, especially when your time or energy is really low. So think of that as maybe it's 3 breaths before you sit down to eat, or just like 2 minutes of stretching before you get in bed. Or maybe it's just 5 minutes of journaling and practicing some gratefulness. These are what is creating stability for your brain and body, and they are much easier to maintain than our longer routines, right? Those are important too, but having some things in your toolkit, these little micro routines that you can do in 5 minutes or less, really, really important. Um, be adaptive, right? Flare days are going to call for more gentle rituals. These are not just give up days, they're just go a little softer days. So try a warm compress on your head or your neck. Listen to some soft music, or guided meditations are great during this time. Or journaling just like one sentence, like, I'm with myself today. I'm paying attention to my body today. When we honor the body's need to slow down, we reduce the length and intensity of flare-ups. So I think I shared with you all, I tend to be a perfectionist thinker myself. And I think that, knowing what your unhelpful thinking mechanism kind of go to is important, because we all have them. We all have maladaptive thinking patterns. But if you are like me, if you tend to be a perfectionist thinker, something that I think you really need to be mindful of here is that you are not behind. You are not doing it wrong, even if you're not doing it perfect. The best way to evaluate progress is through your capacity, not necessarily your productivity. Can you pause when you need to? Can you name what you are feeling? Can you advocate for your needs, right? These are signs of deep healing beyond what a symptom tracker can really measure. So you're doing great. Keep in mind that all of us have an energy rhythm, and mapping your day, week, or even cycle around this rhythm helps you plan realistically. So build a core routine for high energy days, right? When you're feeling really on top of the world, you can get things done. And then also a bare minimum plan for when you're having really low energy days and getting things done feels really difficult. This way, your healing continues, but you're allowing that flexibility of different pacing based on your energy level. So we've talked a lot throughout this program about trauma work and how it affects our immune system, and addressing unresolved trauma reduces the long-term activation of stress pathways that impact the immune system, right? That's why this work is so important. Keep in mind as you are doing this trauma-informed healing and checking in with yourself that this doesn't mean reliving your trauma. It means building safety in the now. So practices like somatic tracking and setting boundaries and just offering self-compassion all quiet the immune system's sense of hypervigilance over time. So, again, this is not necessarily easy work, but it's very much worth it. And if you can learn how to orient in the now and not allow those past experiences to hijack you, right? And you can kind of reset the body and orient into the present moment. It's going to make all the difference in the world in being able to manage autoimmune symptoms. So, rest is not a reward. It's not something you have to earn. It is medicine and it is necessary. So, scheduled rest, especially when symptoms are really persistent, it helps to prevent future flare ups or flare ups from getting worse. So, when you rest before you are totally depleted, your body learns that it doesn't need to scream to get your attention. And that's regulation, and that is trust, and that is really important to this process. I think oftentimes as women, we just push ourselves forward and we keep going, and you've got to start listening to your body. There are times that you just need to slow down and allow yourself to rest. So your healing doesn't have to be rigid. In fact, it shouldn't be. It can and should be responsive. You are allowed to change your plan, to pause a routine, or start over. The point is not to be perfect, it's to just keep listening. Your body is your partner in this process. So, if I may, let me offer you this affirmation to guide you going forward of just telling yourself, I adapt, I heal, I continue. And I really like that because I think it's really envelopes what we are doing in this program, right? We are adapting, we are healing, and we are continuing. So you're doing a great job. Keep going forward. And of course, there is a worksheet to go with this lesson. This is going to help you really design and integrate those micro routines into your daily life. And there's a section that kind of goes over the energy rhythm mapping, and then even a rest plan that you can kind of customize for you, which is really, really important. So doing a great job. Thanks for joining me here today, and I'll look forward to seeing you in lesson 3.